Hi, this is Brent with Trade Therapy with another chart breakdown supporting our Clarity Spotlight on Microsoft last week. Today's Friday, March 21st. Apologies for dropping this video a little late this week. I did have a surgical procedure done earlier this week, so apologize for any inconveniences that may have caused. We are looking at Microsoft. This is when we detected the strong possibility of reaccumulation occurring in Microsoft was back in June of last year. See, we identified these two targets in kind of like an A, B, C type of a move we were expecting. We recognized this candle right there. We talk a lot about in trade therapy content about inefficiencies within the chart structure, and that when you see inefficiencies, there's a good chance that those areas of the chart are going to be revisited during weakness. Now, some of them aren't going to be. There's a lot of areas within this big post-COVID run that Microsoft went on, that the entire Mag 7 went on, that will more than likely not be revisited for quite some time, if ever. But these closer target areas during times of weakness are areas that are going to be targets for reaccumulation and targets for liquidity. And along the way, as we've continued to cover this trade and continued to cover this as an excerpt from our coverage on Apple in January, along the way, we've given updates and shown how these targets that we set back in June of last year, the first one was right here. It got hit on its way up to form a classic ABC corrective reaccumulation structure. And our C target that we have stuck to since June of last year has also been, sorry, let me get this, has also been penetrated here. I wanted to get over to a clean look here. Has been penetrated, and this inefficient candle that we have had our eyes on since June of last year was also penetrated, and this level of support is what is providing support to Microsoft right here. What that does is it leaves us in the position now to where we can start looking at the next phase. What's coming next? We've correctly identified this phase here. That means that our overall analysis on Microsoft, and really if a stock like Microsoft is doing this, it's pretty safe to assume that the majority of the Mag 7 is also going to be following in some flavor of this, unless you have a standout like Tesla's really been a standout for the past couple of years. And we'll talk about that this week in our Clarity Spotlight on ARK-K. We'll revisit that. But as far as Microsoft goes, we got the reaccumulation structure here. This confirms that this is an accumulation structure here. We have reaccumulation, and we should expect to look forward to markup here. So this year in trade therapy content, we're going to talk a lot about reaccumulation. It's nice that we're going through it with the Mag 7 this early in the year, because all of the interest rate sensitive areas of the markets, China, the high growth stuff, all of the Kathy stuff that we're covering this week for ARK-K, all of them are back in here. They're just now breaking up out of their accumulation structure, and they have this first stage of markup ahead of them. A lot of them have had this reaccumulation structure plopped right on top of their accumulation structure, which has caused them to have these very lengthy, long, drawn out processes, but they're breaking up out of it. So it's good that we're going through this with Microsoft now to begin introducing some of the concepts, some of the tactics that are used by institutions as they go through these reaccumulation phases. If I jump over to today's chart, this is a live chart. This is a weekly chart. You can see that we do have Microsoft in late stage reaccumulation. That is an exciting time. That is a big landmark here. But once we identify this, that's really equivalent to to a bottom, something like this. Now, is there a chance that they might try to extend this lower? You know, there's a possibility that they may try something crazy and try to get down below this support structure right here. Doubtful they can get there. We don't see inflation suddenly going nuts We don't see interest rates rising. We don't see all of the media hyped hysteria around tariffs. We don't see that resulting in Fed policy decisions. In fact, yesterday or this week, I can't remember if that was yesterday, they announced that they're going to stop rolling off treasuries off of the balance sheet. So what that does is that generates that lightens some of the downward pressure on equities. The 10-year yields should begin to fall. There's no reason why the 10-year yields should be as high as they are now. And so all of that is positive for equities. We do believe that this marks the end of the reaccumulation, at least the Wyckoff spring that that Microsoft has set in its reaccumulation structure here appears to be completed. The weekly candle that is forming here is in line with a bottoming process. It is tight candle, tight bodied candle on higher volume. So anytime you see, although we're not quite up to an average volume week, last week was a very high volume on a tight body. This is a tight body with close to average volume. So that qualifies as consistent with a bottoming process. This is the struggle between supply and demand happening right here. Buyers are beginning to retake control here. Anytime within an asset, a highly valuable asset like Microsoft, anytime you can see positive divergence, meaning this bottom and this bottom, should equate to, or I'm sorry, rising bottoms should also have rising bottoms. If they have falling bottoms within the momentum indicator, which is relative strength index here, we have falling bottoms and rising bottoms. That means there is upward pressure. This is a lot of upward pressure. This is a lot of pinned up pressure that has been pushed down, held down by larger forces, by Wall Street, basically taking profit. They had all of these unrecognized gains from this big COVID run. They had to take profit. They're gonna want to rebuild their positions in Microsoft. Here's your yen carry trade. Here's your dip. We saw this one coming back in June when we said, watch out, here comes reaccumulation. Here's the completing the bookend of that trade right here that we've been looking out for the entire time. We now should see the next phase of Microsoft's ongoing breakout from the COVID accumulation. So we do expect to see upward momentum here. I think this is good news for the overall markets. Great news from the Fed meeting this week. And we'll see how it goes. We're trying out a new format with Clarity this week on ARK. I think you're really going to like it. We've got direct media coverage to specific points within the chart that I think everyone's going to find very interesting. Anyway, hope that helps. I hope everybody's had a great week trading.